President Trump has reportedly been asking Tucker Carlson for strategy advice for the 2020 election. And listen, in the past, I would have said that's not the worst source to go to on the right if you're looking for election advice. Because in the past, Tucker had mimicked anti-war sentiments. He had mimicked... He did a segment defending Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders for their plan to stop financial institutions from basically ripping you off by charging interest rates that are too high. So he had flashes of like, okay, no, see? Here, look, I'm going to say something that's decent. Now, he'd always mix it in with a heaping dose of bigotry, among other things, just terrible stuff ideologically. But there was a time when that wasn't a bad place to go for election advice. Well, now, at this point, with Biden up big in the polls, Trump is panicking. Tucker seems to have lost all of his political instincts as well, because look at this type of strategy he's going with.
These are the people who will run the country if Joe Biden is elected in November. So what's their plan? Well, in a sentence, they'd like to make the rest of America very much like our biggest cities have become: squalid, dangerous, chaotic, and unhappy. They'd like to do to your neighborhood what they have done to New York City. The main thing they've done to New York is make it scary. Violent crime is surging dramatically there, as we have told you night after night. And one of the main reasons for that is the elimination of cash bail. The city no longer holds the people it arrests. Criminals are in and out of custody immediately, and many, of course, go on to commit more crimes. It's nuts. The Biden campaign plans to abolish cash bail everywhere. No bail for any crime nationwide. Think about what that would mean. Americans are fleeing urban areas in huge numbers. Big cities are just too mismanaged. They're too dangerous. Unless you are very rich or very poor, you're getting out. New York City lost 53,000 people in 2019. They will lose far more than that this year. Most of these refugees have relocated to the suburbs, where they imagine they are safe from the effects of disastrous urban policy. But they're not. Democrats want to abolish the suburbs. They are too clean and nice, and therefore, by definition, they are racist.
There's this thing that happened a few years ago. There was this talk online about... So they're straw manning your opponents, right? Which is like, let me make up what I think your position is. Really, you're like caricaturing that person's position. And then you attack the caricature. And then everybody watching goes, oh, yeah, you're right, because that position is ridiculous. Yeah, but that's not the person's position. You made it up and then you attacked it. So you have to accurately represent their position. So that then the term came out, steel man. Like, you should steel man your opponent. So present the best version of their argument. And then if you're going to disagree with the best version of their argument. Don't, like, make it absurd up front where it's ridiculous at face value and then attack it, because then you're not doing anything. You're an idiot in the public discourse, and you're making an ass of yourself. I've never seen a better example of, like, straw-manning your opponent to then try to defeat that argument. Like, really? That's the line you're going to go with? The Democrats want to abolish the suburbs. Nobody said that. You said that. Now, he goes on to explain, like, oh, they want to get rid of some of the zoning rules that are just for single-family houses. The horror! So it's like, the point is, hey, maybe Democrats will want to build more affordable housing units. Maybe some of those will be in the suburbs. And oh my goodness, won't that bring in the undesirables? Now hold on, Tucker. I thought you were, all like rah-rah working class guy. Those are working class people. So now all of a sudden you're against the working class people. I wonder why that is. Affordable housing. Could it be because there are a lot of people of color in those affordable housing units? And then he gets triggered when somebody calls him a bigot. Just own it, bro. Just fucking own it. Like, I hate the Weasley people. I hate the Weasley people who know what they really believe. But then if you say it, they're like, oh my God, no. No. Is it really that scary to have more affordable housing units in areas that are suburban? Isn't the real idea, hey, let's give everybody access to a more comfortable suburban life. Not like, oh, let's drag down the suburbs and make it like crime-ridden or whatever. And they don't even they don't address the real argument behind like the defund the police movement. Now, I said up front, I think that sounds extreme. I think we do need police to one extent or another. Now, you should narrowly define what their job is and stop them from doing all the things that they shouldn't do, right? But he doesn't ever engage with the actual reasoning behind the argument. Like, oh, let's replace a lot of the things that cops do. Like, why should cops have to deal with homeless people with mental health issues? You don't need a guy with a gun. You need a mental health expert with some compassion to deal with somebody who's like homeless and in trouble. So there's again, it's just relentlessly making a mockery of positions that are not necessarily ridiculous. Like, let's think of the best version of that position and then have a real conversation about it. He doesn't want to do that. He'd rather just go out there and say, they want to abolish the suburbs. I can't believe that they want to change the zoning on single-family homes and maybe allow more affordable housing, the horror on that. Then when he talks about cash bail, I mean, that really gives away the game there, because cash bail is just a way to criminalize poverty. So you commit a crime, you go to prison. If somebody's rich, they could pay to get out before the trial. If they're not, they can't. So obviously, the reasoning behind it is, let's criminalize poverty. That's not even hidden. That's just what it is. And he thinks that's a good thing. So again, what happened? I thought you were like all pro-worker and regular people. Well, to be for cash bails, as elitist a position as you could possibly get, let's give the rich people an unnecessary leg up over the poor people. And then I like the argument that he thinks Biden wants to make the U.S. dangerous and scary with violent crime. Joe Biden is the architect of the crime bill, which is as tough on crime as you could get. It's way too tough. It takes crimes that shouldn't even necessarily really be crimes, and they punish them way over the top in a way that's excessive. So, and now you see why Trump is losing, because now this is the guy that's giving him advice. Trump, his instincts are already gone. Back in 2016, he had good instincts. He hit Hillary on all the important things, on corruption, on her being the status quo, on trade, on war, bread and butter issues. Now it's all, oh my God, Biden is far left, Biden is Antifa, and I love statues. Like that's the strategy. And now Tucker is helping Trump, and he's of the same mind that let's go all in on the culture war in order to win. But this is not going to land. This is not going to work. This is just preaching to the choir nonsense. Nobody thinks Biden's far left, no matter how many times you say it over and over and over. Nobody thinks that. Nobody. And when you go out there and say, oh, Biden's basically weak on crime, he wants to make the U.S. dangerous, what you're saying is to ignore his record. I'm going to pretend like he's somebody he's not, and then I'm going to attack him on those grounds. They got to be doing cartwheels behind the scenes, because they're like, oh my God, this is the easiest election ever. These guys can't get a single thing right in terms of their strategy. What are you doing? This is embarrassing. See, this is what happens when you're too brainwashed, you're too in your own bubble. You begin to think like, you can't make mistakes. But this is as big of a mistake as it gets. This strategy is not going to work against Joe Biden. If anything, it's going to keep helping him, because nobody is buying your line of argument that he's weak on crime. Nobody's buying your argument that, like, Democrats want to abolish the suburbs. And I got news for you. Even a lot of the people who are in Tucker's own audience, the whole preaching to the choir, a lot of people who are already on the right, many of them don't care about cash bail or even have the opposite position on cash bail, because they realize that it's just criminalizing poverty. So, by all means, good luck. Keep going forward with this strategy, and have fun watching the landslide Biden victory.